The Quiet Grind Chronicles, Run 3, The Cult of the Canopy. Prologue. The world resets. The memory of the mushroom fort fades into the code. I awaken in a dense, humid forest, the air thick with the scent of pine and loam. The quiet grind returns, but this time, the silence feels watchful. There are no voices to guide me, only the rustle of leaves and the heavy weight of survival. My goal is absolute: survive, build, and conquer. Chapter 1: The Shadowed Cradle. Day 1 is a sensory overload. I secure wood and craft basic tools, moving through the thick undergrowth. I encounter a family of foxes sleeping beneath the ferns. A moment of peace. But the forest has a bite. A clumsy interaction with a beehive nearly ends the run in a swarm of stings before it truly begins. I retreat, humbled, hunting pigs for meat and finding sheep for that all-important wool. Through a break in the canopy, I see it. A massive mountain in the distance, shrouded in an unnatural, thick fog. It feels malevolent. I do not know it yet, but that peak is the seat of the creeper cult, a silent family that worships the giant trees of this valley. The brutality of nature is on full display. I stumble upon a pack of wolves standing over fresh kills. It is a horrific sight. Bones scattered on the grass, the predators panting with bloody muzzles. They look up, eyes reflecting a primal intelligence, deciding if I am next on the menu. With their bellies full, they let me pass, but the message is clear. This forest is a hunter's domain. I descend a hill and find civilization, a village nestled in a clearing. I trade berries for information with an old villager, a man leaning heavily on a cane, his left eye missing, a jagged scar from an explosion long ago. He speaks in hushed tones of the silent ones who terrorize these woods, but he grabs my arm when I look toward the deep forest. "Beware the phantom howl," he wheezes. "There is a spirit wolf that stalks the deep canopy. It is not flesh and blood, it is the forest's malice given voice. When you hear it during the day, it means you are being watched." I step back, the weight of his words settling on me like the damp fog. The forest's malice. It sounds like madness, the ramblings of a broken survivor. Yet, as I look into his solitary, fearful eye, a cold shiver runs down my spine that has nothing to do with the temperature. I grip the handle of my axe, forcing myself to dismiss the superstition. I need wood, not ghost stories. Still, as I turn to leave, the silence of the trees feels heavier, more expectant. Leaving the village, I follow a faint, overgrown path. The signs are subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye. A pattern of moss on a stone that looks too much like a frowning face. 3 saplings planted in a perfect triangle, choked by vines. I step over them, oblivious to their meaning. Then the trees part. A massive valley opens up against the sky, a breathtaking bowl of green and gold light. The scale is staggering. Giant spruce and dark oaks tower into the clouds, their trunks like pillars of a cathedral. And there, in the center, stands the tallest of them all. A dark oak so colossal it seems to hold up the sky itself. I am completely taken aback. I miss the tracks in the mud, the subtle signs of worship around the roots. This tree is my inspiration point. I scrape out a temporary dirt shelter against its base, leveling the ground. Suddenly, a wolf howls, long, mournful, and terrifyingly close. It echoes across the woods, a lonely sound in the bright daylight that chills my blood. I wall myself in with mossy cobblestone and dirt, placing my torch in bed. I sleep, safe for now but trespassing. Journal entry, Night 1. The old villager's legend rings in my ears in this cramped hole. I am being watched. I want to dismiss it as superstition, but the silence here is heavy. Presses against the walls. I have my wool, I have my wood, but I do not have peace. The great tree above me feels less like a shelter and more like a tombstone. I must build quickly. Chapter 2: The Architect's Vision. Day 2 brings the joy of the craft. I stick to wood tools, finding a rhythm in simple woodsmanship. The texture of the bark, the smell of the sawdust, it calls to me. I clear the area around the great tree, building stairs and laying a floor of spruce slabs a few blocks above the ground. The forest is alive. While building, I hear the warping sound of an enderman nearby, a static tear in the reality of the woods. It sounds like the air itself is ripping apart. I ignore it, focused on the vision of the build. A gorgeous cabin wrapped around the trunk of the great tree. Night begins to fall and I retreat to my dirt shelter, falling asleep and dreaming of safety. On day 3, I head out with fresh tools. I fell trees and landscape the area, oblivious to the eyes upon me. From the deep shade, a creeper cult watches. They see a builder defiling their holy site under the great tree. Telepathically, a signal goes out. The intruder builds. The intruder must be destroyed. Chapter 3: Silksnare's Silent Vow. I continue collecting wood, being careful not to ruin the view around my house by clearing the land too close. The work is steady, but the forest is noisy today. Throughout the morning, I hear a constant, rhythmic clicking, a dry, chittering sound echoing between the trunks. I dismiss it as ambient noise, unaware that I am listening to a conversation. Beneath a spruce tree, I finally find the source of the noise. A small spider, trapped by the gnarled branches and thick brush. It chirps frantically, a specific, high-pitched signal. I draw my wood sword and strike. It takes several hits to silence the creature. Unfortunately, from a high branch in the second tallest tree in the area, Silksnare, the mother spider, hears the signal cut out. She watches her offspring fall to my wood sword. She is ancient, a monstrosity of chitin and fur. Her multiple eyes burn with cold fury. Her thick, hairy legs move slowly, almost methodically with a building rage as she maneuvers in her perch ready to strike if not for the sun. Her massive form casts a shadow in the dim forest light. She skitters away through the connecting webs, plotting her revenge. I do not see her retreat, oblivious to her existence or how bitterly she now longs for my demise. In the hardcore world, almost everything wants to bring it to an end. The day continues and I focus on my build. I experiment with offsetting spruce logs and slabs for texture. I try different styles, munching on berries, lost in the artistic process. It is peaceful, but the peace is a lie. Night falls again, and I return to my bed, unaware of the gathering storms that swirl around me. Chapter 4: The Pact. While I sleep, the darkness of the forest awakes with heavy intensity. In the deepest shadow under the giant tree, the air grows cold. The creeper cult gathers in their worship area, a silent conclave of green and static. The builder annoys them above, violating the sanctity of their place of worship. How it angers them, but they have a solution. From the fog, a figure emerges. She does not shamble like a zombie. She walks with a dry, clicking precision. Ossira the Pale, an elite skeleton archer, her bones bleached white by the moon, her gnarled weapon strung with the thickest of spider silk. "You called," Ossira clacks, her voice like dry twigs breaking. The lead creeper pulses a telepathic hum. The builder, he is above. He wraps himself in wood and confidence. We cannot reach him. Ossira looks up at the unfinished cabin, her empty sockets calculating the trajectory. He feels safe, but no walls. Foolish. Silence the intruder. The creeper hive mind proclaims. We will be grateful. We will reward you. Ossira draws her weapon, testing the tension. It will be done during dawn on a day he least expects it. Chapter 5: The Grand Staircase. Day 4 begins with clarity. I am unhappy with the texture of the previous day's work, alternating between slabs and logs, and decide on sweeping changes. I tear down the old stairs close to the trunk of the great tree and clean up under the slab floor. I extend the trunk down a bit and then design a grand staircase 3 blocks wide and built of solid spruce stairs. This front entry is much more inviting and a statement of the design quality I want to achieve. The rest of the day is spent refining details. I take down the rest of my temporary dirt shelter, erasing the evidence of my humble start. I move my belongings, chests, furnace, crafting table, up into the cottage floor. I create a double door entry and add intricate log trim around it. Because of the offset floor design, I fashion a specific step down into the main living area. Feels more like home now. I harvest more wood as night falls, admiring the silhouette of my creation against the night sky. I sleep, feeling safer than ever before. Journal entry, a bed on high. The dirt hut is gone. In its place, a grand staircase rises. It is beautiful. For the first time since spawning, I feel a sense of dominion over this valley. The monsters growl in the distance, but they are down there, and I am up here. I have carved a home out of the wilderness. Tomorrow, the walls go up and this fortress will be impregnable. Chapter 6. The Assassin and the Spider. Day 5 dawns bright. I step out to gather more wood, when suddenly, thwack! The arrow takes me in the shoulder before I even clear the bottom step. It is Ossira the Pale. She waits under a nearby tree, her aim perfect. I flee back up my grand staircase, scrambling through the double doors, heart racing. I peer out trying to find where the enemy shot from and see a skeleton staring just under the thick branches of a tree, waiting. I eat berries, healing the damage to my health hearts. I hear bones rattle beneath my floorboards. A taunt. I decide to act. Cannot let it siege my home. I jump down from the unfinished walls, bypassing the stairs, and engage the skeleton archer with my wood sword. It is a desperate melee. Ossira strafes, firing rapidly, but I close the distance. I land a critical hit, knocking her back. She raises her weapon for a point-blank shot, but my wood sword connects again, shattering her ribcage and bringing an end to the dangerous skirmish. In the shadows, the creepers are shocked. The assassin failed. He is stronger than we thought, the hive mind whispers. We must do it ourselves. I heal and return to work, shaken but still determined. To clear the view around my future home, I decide to fell a massive tree that is very close by. High in that tree's canopy, Silksnare is resting. She feels the vibration of my ascent before she sees me. Her multiple eyes, gleaming like clusters of wet obsidian in the gloom, fixate on me. She watches me hack at the main trunk, destroying the very supports of her nest, and a cold fury fills her. She does not attack, not yet. The sun is too bright. Instead, she moves with terrifying silence. Using invisible threads of silk strung between the giant trees of the forest, she flows like oil from her doomed home to a neighboring tree. She settles into a new dark perch, her hairy legs twitching with unbridled rage, watching as I dismantle her world block by block. Unknowingly, I cut down Silksnare's home. She is homeless and furious, and the world continues to align against me as I place a torch near the stairs and settle into sleep. Journal entry, the great longing. I imagine a world where I can build uninterrupted. A place where I feel as a complete being in a fluid flow of creativity and action. Sadly, such a luxury does not exist. The battle with the skeleton archer was intense, but I have to put it behind me. A new day awaits with new goals and dangers. The quiet grind moves forward in its own beautiful way. Chapter 7. 8 Legs in the Dark. I work hard the next day, fueled by my passion to build. The day goes quickly and twilight descends, stretching the shadows. I frame the corner posts with spruce logs, extending them like fingers into the sky, but I run short on materials. I venture out to gather more logs, trying to maximize my build time, but the fading light begins to betray me. The forest shifts. Every direction looks the same, an endless colonnade of tall, shadowed trees and mossy stone. I realize with a jolt of adrenaline that I have lost my bearings. I scramble around, desperate for a sight line, my breath hitching as the monsters begin to groan in the distance. I finally spot my landmark tree against the dying light of the sky thanks to a nearby hill, but for some reason the walk back feels longer than it should. There is a heaviness in the air that I can't explain. The hairs on the back of my neck bristle with a tingling sensation that unnerves me. My gut tells me something is wrong. In the darker shadows, Silksnare is stalking me. She keeps out of sight, scampering under the thick canopy to keep her rage-filled eyes on me but out of the bright rays left over from the sinking sun. She is a ghost in the leaves, tracking my every step. As I return to the cabin, the greed of the builder runs through my veins and I start working into the night. I need walls up. I need a roof. I have waited too long. Then I hear it, the skittering. It echoes from all around the cabin floor as the darkness blankets from above. At first, it sounds like it is on the ground, but then a few clacks rattle on wood. Something is climbing up my home. I look to the left of me, and I see it, a massive silhouette of a fat, hairy body and razor-sharp legs against the moonlit stars. It climbs over the first row of the wall, its massive legs landing on the spruce slabs as it scuttles toward me, fangs dripping with anticipation. The battle is intense. In the confined space of my future home, there is nowhere to run. Silksnare lunges, fangs dripping, full of rage. I slash wildly with my wood sword, still chipped from my battle with the skeleton archer. The sound of wood striking chitin echoes throughout the valley. Silksnare knocks me back against the crafting table. Pain spreads through me like lightning. I strike again desperately, hemmed in by the trunk of the great tree and the fat, ancient, hairy body of the spider in front of me. The will to survive courses through me as I frantically slash at the beast several times. With a screech, it collapses. I pant, staring at the spider's multiple eyes as they fade from red to a deathly gray. The noise of the battle subsides and I hear zombies groaning outside below. The forest at night is relentless. The grind never ceases. I calm myself down and thankfully fall asleep. From afar, the creeper cult watches me drift off to sleep. They understand they will have to take care of me themselves. Telepathically, they communicate together as one. At dawn, when he feels safe. Chapter 8. They came in the morning. As the sun begins to shine through the leaves, the creeper cult collectively communicates. The assassin failed. Silksnare failed. We must be the solution. Their telepathic communications pulse together excitedly. One to draw his eye, one to wait, to surprise, to reclaim. Inside, I wake up with big plans. The walls and roof are my #1 concern after the events of last night. On the slab floor, I build a dirt ramp to build the upper walls and roof safely from a higher position. I get on top of the highest spruce log wall frame and look down to the ground below. I see a single creeper under the floor on the dirt below. Confident I can handle it, I leave my shelter. I get the creeper's attention and lead it away, striking it with my sword a few times. It hisses and detonates, leaving a massive, smoking crater just to the front and left of my future cabin. I exhale, turning back to the house, shaken but triumphant and ready to build. Now, the hive mind whispers. As I take a few steps back, I freeze. Emerging from under my slab floor and the trunk of the giant tree is a second creeper. It has been patiently waiting for this exact moment to attack. I retreat backwards, surprised, swinging my sword in panic. I hit it once. It hisses, flashing white. I hit it twice and try to scramble backwards, but I hit terrain. I am blocked. I can't move back. The hiss rises to a scream instantly and the explosion turns my world black. Epilogue. The final explosion created a crater where I once stood. The final, brutal reality is crystal clear. Game over. My journey into the valley was a memorable one, full of danger from day one. Looking back, I should have been extra vigilant after seeing the carnage of the wolves and heeding the dire warnings of the old villager. That should have motivated me to build safer more quickly. Instead, I was oblivious to the risks and waited too long to secure my home. The world around me relentlessly worked against me. My fatal mistake allowed the calculated patience of the creeper cult to finally pay off. It gave Ossira the Pale the victory she sought even if she didn't live to see it. And it fulfilled the silent vengeance of Silksnare. All of their plans came to fruition in one terrifying explosive moment. Run 3 is over. The next world awaits. The quiet grind must continue,